Good morning, Zero here. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and do that thing right now. I'll wait. Yeah, you didn't do it, did you? Let's just get into it, shall we? This morning we're talking about Game Freak and Pokemon. Pokemon is let's just say it holds a special place in my heart. I've been playing these games for years. Well, with the exception of maybe the last one that dropped. I don't remember. But I remember getting Pokemon Red all those years ago when it first released. Playing it on my classic Game Boy giant brick that takes like 4 AA's to power it for 6 hours or whatever. But yeah, I've been playing the games for years, on and off. I love the franchise. It's great. And it's sad to sort of see what is currently happening. If you hadn't noticed, of course, Game Freak Lied is trending on the twatters for some reason. No reason. And it's just, wow. So we've got the Switch, right? Switch is a much more powerful system. It's a hybrid system, being able to play on the TV or take it on the go, that sort of thing. So it's safe to say the DS is essentially dead by this point. And there's no plans to really bring it back or to resurrect it. They're probably going to go with this hybrid console that's just going to keep going and evolving, I guess, as time goes on. Unless for whatever reason they do drop another DS. And Nintendo, of course, is king of the handhelds. We've seen Sony do the PSP, the PS Vita, which, in my opinion, is a far superior handheld. However, of course, through mismanagement and other things, that tanked horribly. And it doesn't help that you're using, storage memory, like not using a micro SD or an SD card, didn't really help things at all either, Sony. That system could have been something, but no. Anyway, so the DS has reigned king, and most Pokemon titles are handheld titles, with the exception of a few. You had Pokemon Stadium, Stadium 2, and Coliseum, and they brought Pokemon into the 3D realm, something that we hadn't actually really seen at the time. Coliseum gave us somewhat of a single-player story experience where we were collecting Shadow Pokemon and trying to purify them and stuff. And it was a bit different, a departure from what normally you would have, along with the Coliseum, or with the Stadium thing as well attached to it. And personally, I think Stadium 2 was better than any of all those. I didn't care for Coliseum all that much, but it's neither here nor there. Point is, we're upgrading from the handhelds to essentially Nintendo's flagship console at this point. And the new game is going to be essentially for, the new flagship console. And we've had Pokemon I Choose You, Pikachu, and Eevee or whatnot also come out. And, of course, since I don't have a Switch, I don't have it. Kind of want, the Eevee version. That's just me. But, looking at some of the things that are floating around on the Twitter right now makes me worried about this game. I mean, you've got a console. Console's got HD. Console has the power, the memory capacity to be the biggest. To have the biggest Pokemon game ever created. And they have slashed the decks down to not even half the Pokemon that are in existence. And there's a lot of them. We're up to 700 and something, right? Maybe 800. I haven't kept track. With Gen 8 and everything else adding, I'm sure, more. And I've just not been following the news on it. But we're up to 700 and some Pokemon. There is no excuse to have every single Pokemon in the game at this point in time. But that's not, I guess, the biggest offender at this. A lot of this is, the fact that they're reusing assets from previous games. And why? Why not? I mean, look at it. Just other than the graphics being slightly updated, they haven't done a whole lot of differences between the models. Haven't really done a whole lot of changes other than changing the outer coat to these models. But I just want to go through and take a look at some things, that's going on right now. Like this right here. If this is from Pokemon Sword and Shield, which this is from what? Power? I don't know. Anyway, this was shown off at some point. You got this guy using double kick. He does a little hop and hits it. Really? I'm sorry. Really? Please tell me that is not the animation you're choosing to go with. We've got Pokemon Stadium breathing more life into Pokemon. Years ago, for the 64, Stadium was Nintendo 64. We've had the GameCube and whatever else since then, because my brain has stopped functioning on all the Nintendo consoles right now. But you're giving me this little hop for double kick. And that's it? Really? You could not take the time to animate that kick to get him to sprawl up on one leg or whatever and go whack whack? Is that really that hard? Just have him get up and go whack whack for a double kick. Was that really that bad to animate? This should be, especially if you're going to cut a majority of the Pokemon out of the game, you need to put more care into the animation of what you've got. I mean, seriously, look at this. The graphics look a lot better, of course, than, say, what they've got, except for maybe this video not so much looking very good, but, oh, that looks so grainy. Anyway, did he just really turn around like that? Like, in place, spins about, they couldn't even animate walking around or anything? Really? Game Freak, what is wrong? This, I don't know how many times I have to say this. This should be the biggest Pokemon game you have ever created. What is this? Seriously. Is that Tail Whip? Was that Tail Whip? Is that what that was? Tail Whip? That literally looks like the same Tail Whip we have seen before. I don't know. Just really? And then, of course, reusing animation here. Look at that. You're just reusing the same animations from X and Y. And this here. Please tell me that's not real. It's real, isn't it? They literally stop and freeze the game world for you to climb a ladder. Really? Either one, the Switch is a horrible console, and we know it's not true because we've seen Dragon's Quest and Breath of the Wild and other things on this console looking beautifully and doing so much more. And the Dragon Quest game by Square does those, right? Vibrant, colorful world, 700 plus different monsters with unique abilities and such. And this is the shot you're going to peddle me for Pokemon? Are you kidding me? Somebody please do me a favor, bring back Monster Rancher. Let's just redo that, give it to somebody else. Redo Monster Rancher, and for unlocking, I don't know, because people don't know what CDs or DVDs are anymore. I don't know. Yeah, I got nothing. I don't know what to do with those. Because, that was one of the fun things about those games, was to pop in one of your other game discs or a CD or something and see if you got anything really cool out of it. But, really? This is it? Come on, Game Freak. You're better than this. I mean, I granted, Pokemon has had a lot of issues, especially in the competitive scene with Pokegening and hacking and, things like that. I have my own opinions on those. Quick summary: if you're hacking your Pokemon into the game, F you, F everything about you, get out, and you should not be competing in anything at that point. That's my personal opinion. If you don't like it, you can QQ me a river someplace in a corner because I don't care. But, come on. Other than that, the game should be great. I mean, this is not... clearly be the third song. This is not what I'm expecting. Hopping on a bike and it freezes the entire world. I mean, the animation right there is crisp. I'm not gonna lie, that looks good. You know, having that transition. But this over here, this stopping and freezing the entire world to do it, not so much. That is jarring and horrible. There's no reason everything should freeze on a console like this. It has more power to do that. I don't remember things freezing when I was playing X and Y because I hit the button to hop on a bike, or any other Pokemon game for that matter. Maybe it did, I don't know. Those were older titles on older hardware. But really? And of course, you know, if you're not sure what's going on, I think most of, you know, the Game Freak Live thing has to do with the reusing of models. Polygon No Pokemon Sword and Shield is not reusing models from recent Pokemon games, yet people have gone ahead and taken a look at the models and structures and stuff and put them side by side and other things from older games, and they are literally identical models. So it's not like they're not doing a whole lot of difference. You know, when you take the same wire, you know, frame and mesh for Pikachu, and all you do is slap over some shinier graphics to it, it's still using the same model. It just looks shinier, newer. So, and to be honest, I don't have a problem with that if they want to reuse new models, but it's the fact that they have halved the Pokedex to the point, or not even halved it, I think it's less than half of the national dex is in this game, to the point that their excuse for doing so is the fact that they had to remake every Pokemon model from the ground up. And even if, you know, that was the case, why not take the time to do it for everything? Do we really need to rush the game out? The Pokemon community can be, you know, patient when it comes to a new game. Right? You know, you say, hey, look, we have an issue. We're having to build these models from the ground up because we don't want to reuse assets from Sun and Moon or X and Y or anything like that. And in order to put the entire national dex into the game, we're going to have to push production back, say, a year. So instead of it coming out at X time, it's going to come out a year from then. And hopefully by that point, we'll be able to properly mesh and create all these different Pokemon models from the ground up. I think they would be okay with that. That would be fine. But, really? You oh my gosh, Game Freak, this is a dumpster fire. But yeah, this here is just the feed right now. Let's refresh it real quick, see what we're looking at right now. But yeah, about that. The reusing of models, different textures and things from previous games. And then, of course, you know, you got other people commenting on it. But, yeah, this right here, this is pretty much what happened the second I walked in and saw this and was like, what? Because it's not often I see the Pokemon community inflamed in this kind of a thing. Oh, here we go. This is somebody making comparison between Dragon Quest, which I mentioned, and the Switch. You know, hundreds of hours worth of content, 700 plus monsters with tons of unique and charming animations, great story, Pokemon. Removing half the Pokemon for better animations. Yeah, I hope this here is not your better animations, Game Freak. Well, apparently I'm not going to be able to play for some odd reason. There we go. Don't know what happened. Yeah, better animations right there. Better animations. Come on, Game Freak. Really? But, mediocre graphics lying to customers. But yeah, look at this. This is Dragon Quest. Looks really good. If that is Sword and Shield, it's not worth the buy. Like I said, should be the biggest Pokemon game they have ever come up with. What I'd love to ever see again is another Stadium game. That's not Coliseum, of course, but Stadium. But that's just me. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, that's Breath of the Wild, is it not? Or is that, I don't remember. I can't think right off the top of my head. That might be, Dragon Quest. But yeah, I mean, this here looks a lot better than that. On the Switch? The Switch can do better. And there's another comparison right there of the model, the reused graphics. Oh wow, there's this whole thing. I can't zoom into this, can I? Can I zoom in? Open that in a new tab and let's see if we can zoom into this thing somehow. I don't know what buttons are what. Well, let's take a look, shall we? Whew, there we go. The number of Pokemon in these games have been cut to include less than... I could have zoomed in with a thing. Anyway, less than half the actual national dex, without any sign of implementing the remaining Pokemon to these games with any patch or DLC. About 144 moves have been removed from the game. Really? See, I'm going to learn some things because I've not been paying attention. But 144 moves have been removed, including Pursuit, Hidden Power, Return, Frustration, Karate Chop, and a full list of deleted... Are you serious? Mega Evolution and Z moves have been removed from these games, making many Pokemon that made it into the game suddenly quite useless. Yeah, I mean, there were some Pokemon can't really function without a Mega Evolution or Z move because, quite frankly, there are several Pokemon out there that they've completely forgot about who need a permanent evolution beyond what they currently have. I mean, I got kind of excited when I saw that they gave Farfetch'd an evolution because it's something he has needed, or it has needed for years and hasn't had it. But the plot of these games are even more Pokemon standard, exceptionally short and shallow, using the same tropes as in Sun and Moon. The games are easily finishable in 15 hours of playtime. This problem exists arguably since X and Y, and is a problem exclusive to isn't not a problem. That's every game. When it comes to Pokemon, the games are pretty simple. Collect the badges or totems or whatever it is. I didn't really care for X and Y's thing, but I would rather go and beat the gyms, go after the Elite Four, do that, maybe have a side arc and quest with Team Rocket or whoever, Plasma or whatever the other people are going to be. But yeah, the textures of these games are beyond mediocre and lacking polishing and any other viable effort or visible effort. There are only a few to non-new quality animation have promised to justify the national Gex cut, and the game often handles them quite badly. Another reason for the Dex cut was the attempt at creating a new meta, which shall be dominated by new and old power creeps reaching for okay. Look, when it comes to the meta, that's why some of the older Pokemon need a buff. But yeah. There are constant graphical issues like constant pop-ins due to bad code and sudden disappearance of trainers and Pokemon models inside and outside of battle. Most of the animations used by Pokemon and trainers in these games are carbon copies of those present since Sun and Moon and even since X and Y back in 2013. The games are filled with unskippable cutscenes similar to Sun and Moon and seem to be more intrusive than ever, with Sonia and Hop interrupting your adventure on a regular basis. I'm not really sure what that's about, but that would get really annoying really quickly. restrictions and hand holding is prevalent as ever. With the routes in Victory Road resembling hallways than previous. Yeah, I don't like that either. That's one of my issues with like X and Y and them. Yeah, anyway, there's not a whole lot of being able to go out and explore, because when it comes down to it, Pokemon's still an RPG. And you don't get that ability to explore because they just sort of hold your hand and walk you down the hallway the entire dang time. The game was not designed around the focused experience share, or around the forced experience share, and make the player quite quickly overpowered, making the game very easy. Constantly heals, even during the final moments of the game, shatter any semblance of difficulty. Not really sure what that's about, but okay. There is a new post-game content outside of the rehashed battle tower and raid battles. Or there is no post-game. I'm sorry. In fact, the battle tower is inferior from previous battle towers. Does not super singles. Okay. You're not able to catch Pokemon in the wild areas unless you've got a badge allowing you to do so. You're not able to catch Pokemon in wild areas unless you have a badge allowing you to do so, which usually covers your current level. Meaning, if you find Pokemon you really want, you won't be able to catch it until... What? Oh, you're kidding me, right? Oh, Game Freak, you done goofed. Listen, if I got a Pokeball in my hand and I see a wild Pidgey in front of me, I want to be able to catch the dang Pidgey without needing a badge to do it. That is not how those badges work or were designed. Yeah, it may make your Pokemon a little harder to control if you don't have one that, a badge high enough or whatever. But that, come on. This has disastrous implications for random shiny Pokemon. I don't care about shinies, but whatever. And yeah, it does. That's valid 100%. That entire thing is... Somebody needs to go get kicked in the groin real quick. The scaling of these games is bad at best, even though Dynamax is all about the size of the Pokemon. Wailord being smaller than the trainer, and other curious sights make battles seem more ridiculous than during the 3D era. I'm sorry, what? Wailord being tiny? Come on. There is no GTS for no reason. Even though it was simple, or it was a staple of the franchise for more than a decade. No global trade service, really? Seriously? You not able to trade? Pokemon Home is used as a scam to lock away the GTS and destroy the Pokemon that didn't make it into the game. What? There's no trading? The global trade service is not there? Are you kidding me? That'd make trading so much easier. It's like, hey, look, I'm looking for this. Throw this into the wild. It's like, would you take it to give me this? That'd be great. Yeah, okay. There are many instances of the game of using wrong or badly polished battle backgrounds, ranging from suddenly being in the wild areas by fishing to indoor battles using void battle scenes. That's a coding issue, major coding issue. What is up with that wheezing? Is that a new one in this game? And I just don't know. It's like a new evolution. I don't know. Anyway, the game's soundtrack is filled with unharmonious sequences and blah, blah, blah. In fact, there are some instances where no soundtrack is used despite... Okay. Many Pokemon are the same time around shiny looking, including the legendaries and the starters. Alright. The entire world, well, that sounds like an art choice, because everything I've seen has been like a new coat of shiny paint on everything. Even though they're still using the same base wire mesh from the previous titles. The entire world in Sword and Shield sometimes freezes when uses certain items. Yeah, we saw that. The wild area of this game are underwhelming at best and hideous at worst. The semi-open area is devoid of life and can be entirely surveyed in less than 15 minutes. Ugh. There are no animations for flying or other similar actions despite previous games, including them. Really? Couldn't even be bothered for that. Cities are mostly empty and devoid of any meaningful content, with no incentives of even visiting some of them again. Extremely shallow use of Britain as the main inspiration of the region. Really? I mean, generally, Game Freak is good at showing off what they've been inspired by, so a shallow experience from that does not sound very good. Ranging from Pokemon usually comprised to British stereotypes like Scotland not being in the game to the lack of many analogies to British attractions. Fishing is still restricted to specific areas similar to Sun and Moon. Unbalanced selection of Pokemon from previous generations with overrepresentative pandering of Kanto Pokemon like Charizard and Pikachu. Yeah, of course they're gonna... They gotta get people like me interested in the game. That's how they do it. They pander us with a bunch of Kanto Pokemon. Sorry. But if you're not going to give us the entire Pokedex, what's the point? The bike is used as the HM replacement instead of mounted Pokemon like in Gen 7, breaking the immersion of using Pokemon to complete the adventure. That one there is... That one's a subjective thing, to be totally honest. I don't mind using the bike. It's not really immersion breaking. Now, the Pokeride thing was kind of cool, not gonna lie, but not a necessity. Just saying. Although I think I would rather go with that system over the HM system any day. Pokemon in the OU do not interact with their environment in any meaningful way, making the entire point of overworld encounters obsolete, void, and meaningless. The game was advertised as a game made for longtime fans, despite still targeting children. Yeah, okay. Development and procedures constantly lie during the marketing campaign. The games cost 50% more money with arguably less content. Yeah, I mean, other than the gigantic Pokemon versions and the new coat of paint, this game is seeming like a lot less content than the previous titles for the DS, a handheld. Questionable art style choices like using bright neon greens for berry trees despite other trees not having these colors. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care too much for the art colors either, but whatever. Oh gosh, that hurt. I think I just hiccuped. Anyway, no following Pokemon despite existing animations since Sun and Moon. Seriously, let's have follow Pokemon. Come on, it's not that hard. People will want that forever. The map is exceptionally small, with only 10 routes in a barren wild area. Really? Really? Oh. Anyway, the dishonest marketing campaign. Game Freak is not, and I repeat, not a small indie developer. They must hold... Yeah. Game volume settings now require an optional key item called high-tech earbuds to be accessed. Wait, what? The fudge is that? What in the fluff does that have? Why? Game Freak does this, but won't put in a toggle for experience. What? To access volume settings, you need an optional key item called high-tech earbuds. What the fluff? And the 2020 games do not include the National Dex as well. It won't have full trade battle compatibility with Sword and Shield, essentially forcing you to buy the 2020 games if you want to participate in any meta. It should be noted that signature or trademark moves of Pokemon in the game are cut, like Heal Order. Well, that would be what is it? Vespa Queen, Ominous Wind, Heart Stamp, and yet Light of Ruin, still attached to the Pokemon that never been released, is still in the game. The game uses most of the same models as 3DS, blah blah blah, which we were looking at. Anyway, yeah, so this has been going on for 30 minutes, me ranting about Pokemon. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. I think I have said enough on the subject. I will talk to you later. See ya!
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.